For hundreds of years, ships have dominated the waves. Some have been lost in weathers like typhoons. Others have been lost in wartime. Others lost in peacetime. Others lost for different reasons. But now, I will look deeply into the sinking of into these ships, and we will go deep, and we will look at the top 100 deadliest maritime disasters of the 20th century in peacetime. So let us begin. On our number one countdown, we begin at now on our first episode. We begin at number 100, the sinking of this deadliest crest. In the month of November and also in the year 1981, the deadliest crest was sent to the Gulf of Thailand for the purpose of drilling gas wells for Unocal. But on that November 1989, the 130 millimeter or 5 inches drill pipe had reached a depth of 1,130 meters. The rig had been in the tropical storm since the Tuesday of 31st November. Electric logging was performed. The superintendent ignored storm warning, saying there hasn't been a typhoon for 50 years in the Gulf of Thailand, so keep working. But sooner or later, this would become a very dangerous operation to do. The superintendent's report stated that winds and seas increased at approximately 1 a.m. on the day of the capsize. The increasing severity of the weather forced the rig workers to hang the drill pipe in the hole on the lower arms. It was determined from the morning report that drilling activities ceased around midnight. By 3 a.m., the drill pipe in the hole was hanging on the lower arms. Rig workers, however, did not have time to lay down the 27-meter lengths of drill pipe that remained in the derrick. On 3rd November 1989, the sea crest you can see there was caught in this typhoon gale and was capsized in the Unocal's Platon gas field during the passage of it. The sea crest had a crew of 97 at the time of the incident. The cause of the capsize is attributed to the ship's unworthiness as well as severe weather conditions encountered by the ship during the storm. After some days, the sea crest, the Unocal and Platon living quarters thought that maybe the sea crest was lost and maybe had stopped. So search and rescue efforts were performed by Unocal and the Thai Navy. Unocal did not have a search and rescue plan in place, so it had to improvise its search efforts and reduce rescue efforts. It utilized helicopters, boats, and drill. The wreck, floating inverted approximately 4 nautical miles from the west side, was found by a helicopter on 4th November. Divers were sent to the wreck to locate any crew who might have been trapped within the inverted hull, while supply boats and helicopters continued searching the surrounding area for any crew who might have drifted away from the wreck. Divers found 2 bodies on the bridge, but no survivors in the capsized ship. Later at around on 5th-6th November, Thai and fishing boats and Thai Navy found 6 survivors in 2 groups, approximately 62 and 69 miles northwest of the sea crest. On board the sea crest, there were 97 crew. Of the crew, 91 are dead. And so making it the 100th deadliest disaster in peacekeeping time. Let us move on. And now we move on to number 99. The sinking of the Floricel. If you just give me time, let me just cite here pictures of the SS Florida. That's the ship there. At the time of the sinking, Florizel departed St. John's on Saturday, 23rd February 1918 for Halifax and then on to New York with 78 passengers and 60 crew. Among the passengers, shortly after the vessel passed through the St. John's Narrows at 8:30 p.m., the weather turned nasty. The vessel's log had not deployed due to icy conditions. After sighting the Bay Bulls lighthouse and losing sight of land at 10:20 p.m., none of the three lighthouses south of Bay Bulls were sighted. Nevertheless, after 8 hours of steaming, Captain Martin reckoned that he had rounded Cape Race, maintaining his order for full speed, and ordered the final course change at 4:35 a.m. to west by north. At this point, without the benefit of either the fall of the log or lighthouse sightings, the captain had only soundings and engine RPM to verify their position. Neither of them were utilized. Florizel had actually traveled just 45 miles and was well short of the Cape. The sea crashing against the rocks at Hornhead Point was white with froth, and Captain Martin mistook it for ice and crashed full speed into the rocks at 4:50 a.m. Most of the passengers and crew that survived the initial crash found shelter in the Macaroni Shack, the least damaged portion of the ship. An SOS was sent out and received by the HM wireless station located at Mount Pearl. The Evening Telegram newspaper reported first news of the disaster was picked by the Admiralty wireless station at Mount Pearl in a radio from the stranded ship. SOS Florizel, ashore near Cape Race, fast going to pieces. By the evening of 24th February, the first rescue ship had arrived to no sign of life. The weather was abated somewhat when the light was spotted and a rescue attempt was carried out after the storm had come. Of the 138 passengers and crew, 44 had survived the initial crash, and 27 hours after the ship struck ground, the last of the passengers and crew were rescued. Medals of bravery were awarded to the several crew members of HMS Briton and HMS Prosperon who had responded to the wreck. These were given by the Prince of Wales, the future King Edward VIII. Captain Martin, who had survived the tragedy, was held responsible for the disaster because of the lack of soundings taken during the course of the voyage. His certificate was suspended for 21 months. It was not until later that Captain Martin was not found to have been fault. The chief engineer, J.V. Reader, had reduced the speed of the vessel as soon as he left port by passing the captain's orders to proceed at full speed. This action had caused the ship to make less distance than he thought. The reason cited for Reader's action was to prolong the trip to Halifax such that the vessel would have to dock overnight and allow Reader time to visit his family while there. And so out of this, only 44 people, out of this disaster, the only record shows that out of all the people on board, only 94 were killed, making 44 people survived, making it the 99th deadliest disaster on our list in peacetime. We move on to the next ship, the SS Emir. The SS Emir. On 9th August 1911, the French steamship Emir was struck and sunk by the British steamship Silverton. Silverton in dense fog in the Strait of Gibraltar off the coast of Tarifa, Spain. 71 passengers and 24 crew members were lost, while 15 passengers and 12 crew members were rescued, making it the 98th disaster on our list. We move to the 97th disaster, and at number 97, the sinking of the Danish liner Hans, the MS Hans Hedford. While sailing from Copenhagen on her maiden voyage on 7th January 1959, her voyage to Julian Greenland was made in record time. Hans Hedford called at Nuuk, Seasmouth and Marketon before returning to Julianham. On 29th January, she began her return journey. The ship had 40 crew, 55 passengers, and a cargo of frozen fish on board, and in addition to that, 3.25 tons of archives concerning Greenlandic history. One of her passengers was the Danish Parliament member Ogolind. The next day, Hans Hedford collided with an iceberg about 35 nautical miles or 65 kilometers southwest of Cape Farewell, the southernmost point of Greenland. A distress call was given at 13:56 local time, stating that the ship had hit an iceberg 59 degrees 30 coordinates north, 43 degrees west. Let me just pull up the picture. Let me just pull the picture up. Yes, there is the picture. The call was answered by USCGC Campbell, the West German trawler Johannes Cruz of Bremerhaven, and another West German trawler. Within an hour, another message was sent stating that the engine room was flooded. At 15:12, it was announced that the ship was sinking. A final message was sent at 17:41 local time, stating that the ship was slowly sinking and requesting immediate assistance. Aircraft in Newfoundland were grounded by the weather and was unable to assist in the search of the Hansenford. The beginning of an SOS was received by Johannes Cruz at 18:06, after which communication of Hansenford was lost. On 31st January, the Campbell reported that conditions were the worst seen and there was no sign of the Hansenford or her passengers and crew. The search was called off on 7th February. The only piece of wreckage ever recovered was a lifebuoy, which was washed ashore on Iceland and discovered on 7th October 1959, some 9 months after the ship sank. The ship sank with Paris registers from parishes of Greenland, which were meant to be deposited in archives in Denmark. As a result of the sinking, the airfield at Narsarsuaq, Greenland, which was closed in November 1958, was opened, and an appeal fund for the relatives of the victims was opened, and then Euros 2000 was raised among 10 countries in 2 months. Like the RMS Titanic, Hansenford was said to be the safest ship afloat, being described as unsinkable by some. As of 2022, the wreck remains undiscovered at the bottom of the North Atlantic. That settles it for number 97. We now move to number 96. Which one will it be? The 90. Just to let you know, we looked at the Seacrest that sank in 1989. The Florizel, which sank in 1918, belonged to Newfoundland. The Seacrest belonged to Thailand. The Newfoundland belonged. The Florizel belonged to Newfoundland, and the SS Amir of France, the Hans Hemford of Denmark. We look at number 96, which is the fourth disaster. In the year 1933, the Soviet Union was struck with the fourth disaster when a boat sank in Vlorag near Yaroslav on 9th July 1933, leaving at least 98 people died. And sorry for that, the 96th disaster was the Hansenford. Then number 95, the fourth disaster. We now move to number 94, the sinking of the USS Scorpion. The USS Scorpion was among the most powerful submarines of the time. Her disappearance was reported in May 1968. She attempted to send radio traffic to Naval Station Rota for an unusually long period beginning shortly before midnight on 20th May and ending after midnight on 21st May, but was only able to reach Navy communication station in near Macri, Greece, which forwarded the message to Comsubland. The Navy Scorpion was expected to arrive at her home port in Norfolk, Virginia on 27th May at 13:00 local time. After she was overdue by several hours, the Atlantic Fleet launched a sea and air rescue search during the peak search period from 28th to 30th May, involving as many as 55 ships and 35 search aircraft. A brief radio message including Scorpion's codename Brandywine was received by several search parties on the evening of 29th May. The Navy suspected possible failure and launched a search, but Scorpion and her crew were declared presumed lost on 5th June. Her name was struck with the Naval Vessel Register on 30th June. The search continued with a team of mathematical consultant led by Dr. John Pina Craven, the chief scientist of the Navy Special Projects Division. At the end of October 1968, the Navy's Oceanographic Research Team located sections of the hull of Scorpion on the seabed about 400 nautical miles or 740 kilometers southwest of the Azores, under more than 3,000 meters of water. This was after the Navy had released sound tapes from its underwater SOS-US listening system, which contains the sounds of the destruction of Scorpion. In the sinking of the Scorpion, the USS Scorpion, it was reported that all people on board, the 99 people, all died, making it one of making it at our number 94 list. We move on to number 93, the sinking of the HMS Thetis. The HMS Thetis was a T-class submarine that sank on 1st June 1939 after an independent opening of both doors of a torpedo tube to the sea whistling diving. 99 people were lost, including shipyard workers who were on board for sea trials. Raised and refitted as the HMS Thunderbolt, the boat was later sunk by Italian anti-submarine forces in the Mediterranean in March 1943. Let us now look at the pictures a bit so that we can get a good see. Let me just as you can see, these are some of the pictures. In picture 1, you can see there the HMS Thetis. Here you can see as the bow planes down. Here you can see the stern of the HMS Thetis. There we can see that the HMS Thetis disaster was in marked contrast to the successful rescue of the survivors of the USS Scholars, which sank off the coast of New Hampshire just a week previously. The incident attracted legal action from one of the widows who brought a claim of negligence against the shipbuilders for not removing the material blocking the valve. The Admiralty successfully invoked Crown privilege, now termed as public interest immunity, and blocked the disclosure of, amongst other items. The case is one of the interest in the English law, as the judges in this case attempted the Admiralty's claim at face value with no scrutiny, a ruling later overturned. Well, we've looked at some of the first disasters. Let us take a bit of a break first and look at, there'll be a bit of a break now. The 93rd deadliest disaster is the sinking of the USS Pennington at 6:11 on 26th May 1954 while cruising off Narragansett Bay. The fluid in one of her catapults leaked out and was detonated by flames of a jet, causing the forward part of the flight deck to explode, setting off a series of secondary explosions which killed 103 crewmen, predominantly among the senior NCOs of the crew, and injured 201 others. Bennington proceeded under her own power to Naval Air Station Constant Point, Rhode Island, to land her injured. This tragedy caused the Navy to switch from hydraulic catapults to steam catapults for launching aircraft. A monument to the sailors who died in this tragic event was erected near southwest corner of Port Adams State Park in Newport, Rhode Island. We now move to number 92 on our countdown, the sinking of the 1946 sinking of the Soviet Union's Dalstro. The Soviet steamer operating in the 1930s from the port of Nahontka to Magadan and delivering cargo and the prisoners to Coimta exploded on July 24th, 1946 during the loading of ammonol in Nakdoka due to gross safety violations. Let me just bring up the pictures of the there you can see the Dalstroy at Koilma. We now move from the 92nd disaster to number 91, the sinking of the Italian Rosario in 1940. We just bring up the picture. There you can see the Rosario. On 21st January 1940, the passenger liner caught fire and burned 35 miles off Toulon, France. 48 of the 423 passengers and 60 of the 210 crew died in the fire, making it the 91st disaster in peacetime. As we've seen, we looked at number 93, the USS Bennington, which sank, killing 103 people in 1954, belonging to the United States. The sinking of the Dalstroy in 1946 of the Soviet Union, killing 105. And now number 91, the sinking of the Orazio on 21st January 1940, killing 108. We move now to number 90, the sinking of the Star Bengal. Let me just bring it up. Sorry about that. Yes, that is the sinking of the number 90th ship, the Star Bengal in 1908, belonging to the United States. On 20th September 1908, in the beginning of her return trip from Fort Wang to San Francisco, the Star of Bengal was in tow into the open sea when she encountered a storm. The ship struck the rocks near the shore of Coronation Island and sank, killing approximately 110 people on aboard. Her total passenger count was 138 people on board, including crew, making it only 28 people survived. There you can see pictures of the Star Bengal, a very beautiful ship. As I scroll down the photos, you can see there in one of the pictures it is caught in a storm. Very nice, making it the number 90th disaster on our list. We move to number 89, the sinking of the SS Vetris. On 12th November 1928, the Vestris began listing about 200 nautical miles or 370 kilometers off Hampton Rhodes, Virginia, and was abandoned and sank, killing more than 100 people, which was estimated to be 110 people. She belonged to the United States and sailed during the time of and sank during 1928. In one of these pictures, let me just emphasize, you can see the first picture on the left. You can see the Vestris is sailing. The second on the right, you can see her listing people struggling even to keep themselves balanced. Let me just scroll down the picture slowly. There you can see. If you want in your own time, you can pause to see the pictures if you want. Yes. As you take a moment, I will scroll down and you look as you look at them. And the sinking of the Vetris begins at number 89, making it the 89th disaster. We move now to number 88, the sinking of the SS Valencia. Let me just bring. Shortly before midnight on 22nd January 1906, the SS Valencia struck a reef near Pachena Point on the southwest coast of Vancouver Island and sank. Estimates of the number of people killed vary widely. Some sources list at 117, others claim it as high as 181. According to the federal report, the official death toll was 136. 37 men survived, but every woman and child aboard was lost, and making it the one of the sinking of the United States fleet. She sank in 1906. We move now to number 87, the sinking of the Canadian ship, the SS Noronic. Let me just bring pictures there. The SS Noronic was a Canadian passenger ship that was caught fire at the dockside in Toronto Harbor on 16th September 1949. Estimates ranged from 118 to 139 fatalities. Most of the deaths were from suffocation or burns. However, some died from being trampled or from leaping off the upper decks onto the pier. Only one person drowned, making it one of the deadliest sinking at Toronto Harbor, and the sinking was in 1949 of the Canadian ship. We move now to number 86, the sinking of the K-14 the K-4. There you can see the K-14 was an Oscar II class nuclear-powered cruise missile submarine of the Russian Navy. The Russian Navy submarine crux sank with all hands in the Barents Sea on 12th August 2000 on a naval training exercise after accidental contamination of the torpedo tubes causing a series of explosions. All 118 officers and crew were lost. As you can see, damage may opened the bow, maybe killing all of them instantly, making it the 86th disaster, and she sank in the year 2000. We now move to number 85, the sinking of the SS Sardinia. Let me just place it. Okay, sorry for that. That was so the SS Sardinia was a passenger cargo ship that burst into flames minutes after leaving Grand Harbor in Malta, and she ran aground off Fort Ricasoli. Only 33 people on board survived, and at least 118 were killed, making it the deadliest, one of the 85th deadliest disaster. She sank in the year 1908 and belonged to Malta. We now move to our 84th disaster, the sinking of the Iena. Let me just place it here on the screen so that you can see. The Iena was a pre-dreadnought battleship built for the French Navy, completed in 1902 and named for one of Napoleon's victories. The ship was assigned to the Mediterranean Squadron and remained there for the duration of her career. She participated in the annual fleet, but as she belonged to France and she sank in the year 1907. Let me give you a scale of what happened. On 12 March 1907, while in dry dock in the Misty Sea basin at Toulon, the French battleship suffered a series of internal explosions in her magazine. The first explosion was caused by powder B, a neutral cellulose-based propellant in the ammunition, which tended to become unstable with age and self-ignited. The explosion killed 120 people, including 2 civilians hit by fragments in the suburb of Le Pont-du-Las. She sank in 1907 and belonged to France. We now move to number 83, the sinking of the Pulau Kinjang, belonging to Malaysia, sank in 1973. Sorry, let me see if I can get a picture of that. If it would be possible, I'll just of the Pulau Kinjang. I think these are some of the only photos I can get. So the Pulau Kinjang was a passenger ferry. On 26 December 1973, the passenger ferry sank in the Rejang River near Tanjung Jerinje, Sarawak, Malaysia, 3.5 nautical miles or 6.5 kilometers west of Sarikei in the monsoon season. Of her 159 people who were on board, 38 were saved, including 18 sailors. 41 bodies were only found. She sank in 1973 in Malaysia, killing 121 people. We move to number 82, the sinking of the Yongala, belonging to Australia and sank in 1911. Let me just bring up the picture. The SS Yongala. There, I'm sorry, we can't get the pic. Here is a picture of what it was before it sank. So, the SS Yongala was a passenger and cargo ship that sank off Cape Bowling Green, Australia after steaming into a cyclone. There were no survivors of the 122 people who are on board. So we can connect it with the Seacrest, except this one, there were no survivors. We now move on to the last part of this episode, the sinking of the Hilda. Or just to mention, the Yongalas belonged to Australia and sank in 1911. So the sinking of the SS Hilda. Let me just bring it. So, the SS Hilda was a steamship owned by London and South West Railway. She was used on the Southampton to Channels Island St. Malo service until she sank in 1905, belonging to the United Kingdom. She sank, killing at least 125 people, making it the 81st deadliest disaster on our list. So, we have looked at many disasters. We have looked at 20 of the disasters. Still 80 more to go before we end this season. So continue watching for more of these disasters that we will bring to you. Anyways, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.